Hello and welcome to Wikipedia Weekly Network. Here where Albin Larsson and I, Ainali, are editing Wikidata live. How are you doing, Albin?
I'm doing great. It was a while since we last saw his Archer in this setting,
Yes.
and I'm really looking forward to get started with a bit of streaming again.
Yeah. Last week I was a little bit sick, so that's why it was cancelled. And I guess the week before you were a little bit sick, so
Yeah, we
we tag
didn't
teamed.
time or
Yeah,
colds.
yeah. But now we're on it again, and it's Wiki Loves Earth is going on, so it's gonna take a look at that. What in particular do you want to do with that?
I want to first of all, I like to do this even if it's a little bit unrelated to what we usually do, but I enjoy both for Wikilab Monuments and Wikilab Earth to actually like do an upload and just showcase how it works. And after that, I'm thinking a bit of structured data on commons, like in the regular user interface. We used to do that when it was quite new, and I think there are a couple of new things in actually the main UI
Mm-hmm.
that didn't exist back then. And then maybe a bit of Wikidata editing related to like the nature reserve, which I have a picture of, and so on. Yeah. And
Nice.
you, Jan, what's your?
I'm gonna try to make a few to-do lists related to Wikidata and see, perhaps even if I get time to it, start editing on them. But it's like to-do lists that you can do for your local version or something like, and can be used outside of Wikilove's Earth as well. But I'm gonna take a look at that because I was triggered by it. So let's see
Right.
if I. So of course we do have the Wiki Loves Earth page going on, and I guess most countries have one or more categories where images end up in. And what I was gonna try to do was to see like, well, it's fine and all if we have them uploaded to Commons, but it's even better if we can put them into use. So that's what I was gonna try to do, and I was there are some tools and there are also some bots specifically for Wikilove's Earth and Wikilove's Monument. So this might actually be more relevant outside, but it might also give you a few extra things that I don't think the bots are doing. So I'm going to start heading into, I'm going to start switching to English here. So then I also think I probably zoom in one bit perhaps so you can see a little bit better. There we go. Go to the special pages. Maybe I should open that in a new tab so I can keep, because I'm going to need this name. I can actually copy that straight away, but let me do a new tab here. And we've shown this before, like it's easy to prepare a query when you're going to use the MediaWiki API by using the API sandbox. And I think the last time we did this was in episode 63. So I'm going to be a little bit quick now. And if you want to follow along, you can go back to that one for more in-depth. One thing that we noted was it's very helpful here to first switch to XML. It's going to make it a little bit easier for us to figure out the paths the information is stored in.
Indeed.
And then for actions, like most commonly when we're doing query, is that we're going to try to use the actual we're going to do a query and we're going to use the query. So that gives me this one new here, and we're going to try to figure out images that are being used, and there's a thing for that, and it's called global usage. So I'm going to select that one in here, and now let's see, there are some more things. We're going to do a generator like we did last time as well, and it's the category members that we're going to choose. And then we're heading in, we get these two new things here. We're going to head in for them to do some more selections. We're not interested in using all namespaces because there might be lists where a lot of things. So I'm going to change this one. The default is all namespaces, but I'm going to change this to just the main. And now I can see the main. All media special gallery. Do I have to unselect?
I think you can type.
It's usually, I think gallery has been a mistranslation here. No, it shouldn't be a translation. I'm in English. This is very strange. I'm going to switch this to Swedish. Do I lose everything then? I lost everything. So let me quickly go for query here. Query global usage. In Swedish it says main namespace, but it said clearly gallery in the other. That's very confusing.
All right. That's really odd.
Well, let me switch back to English here, and we'll know that gallery is. I don't know why. Why it's
like that's
that.
odd.
All right.
That so should go on Fabricator.
Yeah, I didn't notice that because obviously I prepared in Swedish.
Yeah. No, it's confusing. It should be a ticket on Fabricator.
Yeah. So let's go for query here. Let's go for XML here. Into the query, and for the global usage, into the generator in the bottom. And it's category members. All right. I think that's where we're at. Go in here, and here I'll select gallery then. And remove this one.
Neat.
And that's all I need here. And then over here, here's what it says. You have to have the category colon in here. Let's see. Yes, I had it. And here I want as many as I can. It says 500. So let's see if we can get that many. I think that's going to be all right. Let me see if I make that request, what happens. All right. So here we see like a page share being a file. So this is the file, and it's being used in 2 pages here. So this is one usage, and this is another usage. And we can see here what's the name of the page using it, which wiki it is on. All right. Now I actually noticed this one. I don't have to create this one. So that's going to save us some time in the end.
Right, that's the right format.
Yes. All right. So now let's head over to the query I prepared. I learned a little bit here. So I'm going to start actually in the Commons query. You could do this in Commons or the other one, but I'm going to start here because there are examples, and there are no MediaWiki API examples in the Wikidata query.
No, it's under a wiki page, advanced examples.
Yes, so, but instead here I can start MW API, and I get this one. And for now,
you should probably zoom in a little, Jan.
Yes, I should.
I think
I'm actually going to leave this one quite soon, but this is one query for some iNaturalist things, and in it uses a call. And I'm going to copy all this. So, and this is in a subquery, but I'm going to copy all this, and I'll then I'm going to go over to Wikidata query service and paste it here. Let me zoom again. But I want to do some more stuff on Wikidata, and I could do it in Commons, but then I have to federate it. But here I can just do it as it is. And here I need to switch the category or change the category from what we had over here. So I'll copy that again. Took an extra. And what else did we have? Oh, it's actually said max here. So that's a shorthand. I think we had 500 set here in the call. I'm going to copy this one because that's a good way to see what we had and paste it here in the bottom.
No, that's a good trick.
That's a long one. So we're going to want to use this namespace thing. So that's going to go up here somewhere. I'm just starting here, copy here. All right. And then, of course, we need to have the global usage prop here, this one. I think that fits better on top of that. All right. So what it does now, it's looking at this category, take the category members for all the files, looking at the global usage in namespace 0. It gives me back the title and page ID because this query built the link to Commons through that. So let's just run this. Then I have to delete this one. Otherwise it will complain. And see if we get something. And we got something.
Indeed.
A little bit slow on, I think it's my computer now. But here we get 399 results. We see this file is being used, and here's a link to that file through the page ID. Now, this is not the way that Wikidata used to render it. So I would have to go and change this one to that way if we want it. But I need a few other things now, because what I want to do is see, well, actually, let's get, we're going to need some more things here. So I want to have the use that paged, and as we can see here, you could see the title here where it was used. But I'm actually going to think now, I'm going to go with use that URL instead, because then I can get this one immediately.
Yeah, makes sense.
Use that URL, and then I need the Wikibase output, like we have over here. And then here is the little bit tricky thing, and then we explained this in episode 63. But what I'm essentially going to do is, and we're going to see it here. Here we're asking for page ID, and page ID is over here, and it's on the page. But this one is 2 steps down in the XML file path, or file path, XML path. So I'm going to need to add this to get to the URL in here. So I'll add global usage, and then it was
/ because we're going down to the next tag.
Yeah. And then at URL.
Right.
Now add this in the top. We should get hopefully a link to, yes, So it's not a link.
Indeed.
It's not formatted, but that's an easy conversion we can do. But at least here we can now see which one already has something in use and which one has not. And this is almost already like a starting point for a to-do list. So you can go over all those that don't have any links and see if they need. But I was interested in doing something a little bit more particular for Wikidata. So I want to see if there are things that are in use on some Wikipedia or any other project, not Wikidata, but doesn't have an image on Wikidata, because then we can see, this image is in use somewhere, the Wikidata item is lacking something. It's probably a good candidate. So that's a good to-do list, I think. So that's why I'm going to start.
Right. And I imagine this could be used for like statistics and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I could imagine it being like how many of this user has ended up on a wiki compared to this user and so on.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's add another thing here then. So I want to, because I didn't want things that are on Wikidata, I want to filter for that. So I'll create another used at wiki. And then there was exactly the same thing here. As we could see here, there was this wiki, which says which wiki it is on. So I can change this one to wiki. And I'll call for that here in the top. If I run this now, it's going to get us a nice column that just states which wiki it is used at. So here we see one is used on Wikidata. I'm not interested in that. So what I'm going to do is create a filter here. So filter, and if used wiki, I don't want this one. So
right.
Not equals to that. So if I run that, hopefully it's going to get a little bit less than 399. So let's see if it filters something. Oh, down to 15. Oh, and now it's also took away all the blanks. So these are the 15 that are actually in use. So that's pretty good. So these are the candidates that I want to check. Now I want to see, so we have this schema about where we connect an article to an item.
It's essentially a representation of the site links, so to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
But to do that, this used that URL actually need to be your URL or URI. So I'm gonna find here, and I'm gonna URI use that URL as, and I'm gonna call that for our article. Hopefully this will turn blue now if I select the article instead of the used at URL. So let's see if that works. Very, very nice. So here we have the articles, and now we can query for them. So article schema, and I think this autocompletes about, yes, to item. Now we gonna need to select item here in the top. And here's a thing that we have run into a number of times. And we have this kind of open thing here that relies on this. If the service API is not done before, this is going to try to query for everything, and it's going to time out. And I've tried it several times today. So I'm actually going to add a hint here to not try to optimize. So take this in this order. So let's see if that works. Yes, so here we go. Here we do have the items. Now I don't really care about that one. Starting to get a little bit a lot. So now I do have them. Now I want to see which one. So item. How do I want to do this? Let's start with an optional. Let's remove them immediately. I don't want everything with an item that has image, which is P18, any value. I don't want that. So if any of these items have an image already, I don't care. I want to get a short list for anything that is totally missing.
Here is actually nice, which could be a feature request to like the Commons query service, that you can actually display like multiple images per row. So you can compare an image and like being able to curate, see that this one is better than this, and
yes,
do things like that. That would be super cool.
that would be nice. Turns out, of my 15 before, 14 already had an image, but we do have one here that didn't. So let's check it out, and let's also check out the image and perhaps even the article to try to figure out. So start with the article. It's a nature reserve. Here is an image. It's perhaps not great.
Perhaps not. Indeed.
Let's have a look at the map again. Let's bring that to full screen. So if it's just over what, well,
that's an odd nature reserve.
It is an odd nature reserve, but it's also like if it's somewhere here, it is. Do we have a better?
Do we got a coordinate?
No better coordinate here. It's just black. You don't even see what kind of forest it is. So I'm hesitant to actually add that. I could add. Is this? Do we have timestamp on this? Perhaps in the extended details. No, that was cleaned before it was uploaded. So I'm not going to add this at all then. I was thinking I could add it as a nighttime view, but I don't think even for that it's really good. Does it have the date? Yeah, so it's taken now, so it's probably not even nighttime, it's evening. If it was during midsummer, I would go for nighttime.
Indeed. Could you try out the query with an auto category?
I could. So this was just the landscape. So there should be one for the, let's see. Well, the landscape is probably better than the detail for this. Let's try another country perhaps to see what we get. Let's see what's the best way to navigate this. Images from Wikilove's Earth by country. Now I didn't get to 2022. All right. So who were in it this year? Germany. We can try.
Yeah.
There we go. 2022. 21 categories. All right.
Oh, and 4,000 files.
So
4,800.
they have, I guess they have per state. So let's grab one with a lot of files and head back to my query over here. Actually, yes, I'm going to put it here. Before running this, I'll copy the link here and share this one in the as on the banners here. I'll just put it over here. so that you can try this one out. Now I'm gonna run. Oh no,
Yep.
all my tabs crashed.
All of them.
Not all. The Wikidata tabs. That's very strange. It
Interesting.
kept this and though. So let's see. Let's run this. See what we get. "41 results.
Oh,
And now
interesting.
we got this on this other way. Let me try to actually change this one into so that we can get an image view. Because it has a little bit different format. But I think I'll have, as any good chef, have something prepared. So
Yeah, this is one of those neat little shortcut one should have accessible.
yes,
The file path trick.
there's perhaps a better way as well to do this than this, but I think this should work. Yes, now we got the little image symbol here, which means I can switch to the image grid.
Neat.
So here we can have, this looks like it could be a nice one.
Yeah.
So this is the article, this is the Wikidata item, and here's the image. We can close the Swedish one here. Let's just quickly see where it's used in the article. If it's in the top, in the info box. Oh, no, this is a list.
Oh, because they have a different namespace.
Yeah, no,
No,
they
they
have
are
a list in
showing
the
them
main
on.
namespace.
Right. True.
So let me switch back again here to the table and see, are they all lists? This one is not a list. Let's go with this one then.
Yeah.
And close all the lists.
So one could do something German specific there, like filter for starts with list.
Yeah, yeah.
To get around that, in case someone still wants to play with it.
Interesting. So this is a place rather than a rather than
A
how was the image?
protected.
Oh, all right. I think this could go.
Yeah.
So let's do one edit here and add an image. That. And I think that will be it for the day. So a lot of work to do an edit, but I hope that this one is can be reused for other things and to create lists. The query itself here is just using one API call and then doing a little bit of filtering to get what you want to.
Right. So then I'm gonna jump straight into it, because the first thing I want to do is to upload an image and then to play around with it and everything connected to it in the Wikiverse. So Wikimedia or Commons Wikiloves Earth 22 in Sweden, because I haven't traveled much lately. But I'm gonna have a quick look on this page and just how to do it this year. We got the usual lists here, where we can find like nature reserves. We got a couple of other things in addition to nature reserves in Sweden. But I am mostly interested in this: find an object from the map. That's usually the easiest way for me. But generally, all countries have a page like this with like maybe there are prizes for it, the organizing team and the jury, and so on, and the statistics, of course. So 82 already. Gonna make sure to double that before we're done. But we have a great map for this in Sweden, which allows us to like just zoom in and see the various protected areas pop up. But this is maintained by Wikimedia Sweden. I think some countries have similar things, some might not. I have a picture of this nature reserve, and we can actually see that it's green because it has an item in Wikidata. We can see that this is blue and do not have a Wikidata item in, or additional Wikidata, which is something that we should fix, of course. But
They all have
so
items.
clicking here, we actually got this upload an image, but in Swedish. I'm gonna open that for later on. But I'm also gonna click this image here because I'm not a great photographer. So what I try to do when I'm like contributing to Wikilab's Earth or Wikilab Monuments is to, what hasn't someone already photographed? Is there an aspect of this I can capture which still adds value even though I'm not a great photographer? Is there some detail on the monument, or is it a nature reserve which has a different section which looks completely differently, and so on? So I'm gonna head over to the Wikipedia article and see like, does the images already that's already there represent the nature reserve in a good way, or can I bring an addition to it, even with a mediocre picture? So just gonna click up the. No, I want the. Can't I get the gallery? Oh, I can't get the gallery today.
No, I think we disable that on Swedish Wikipedia by default.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I learned
The
that
media
today.
viewer,
It doesn't work.
you mean?
Yeah, the media viewer.
Yes.
Okay, then we're gonna do it this way. No, I got the media viewer. That's odd.
Perhaps our JavaScript didn't load fast enough.
Yeah, something like that. So this is one view of like the nature reserve. It's a very prominent Bronze Age grave, but it's not really representative from the entirety. It's this meadow here, but it's also this swampland behind it. So I'm gonna keep another monument. Not that much. This says a little bit more about the nature reserve. We can see a bit of marshland also and such. And then this, I think, is a great picture because it really shows like the landscape in a part of it. But I think I can make an addition here from an image I have that says more about the nature reserve than just those pictures. It adds a little bit of value, even though it isn't a super high quality picture. So in this map here, I just clicked on upload, and it just connects me straight to the monument. It got an identifier here in the URL, so I can just be concerned with selecting an image. You can't see me actually selecting it, but that's what I'm doing, and I think that one is a great one. Let's see if we can we see it here if I click on it? Maybe when it's uploaded. Can I try it? No, it doesn't do anything. Okay. So it's a large picture. At least I'm trying to have good resolution in my pictures.
Very large.
I'm not sure how large it actually is, or if it's a little bit slow today.
Perhaps streaming is contributing.
Yeah, exactly. It adds to that. A few seconds. It has been a few seconds for a while now.
Mm-hmm. I love this new personal data warning.
Yeah, indeed. It's a great small thing. I think there should also be like a checkbox to like have them strip it, but maybe
Yes.
too many would click it. It sometimes can be very valuable information.
Mm-hmm.
And continue. And I tend to use my name here sometimes. It depends. And I want to use a different license because, as I said, I don't consider my images that great. So usually on Commons, I upload almost everything, with a few exceptions, under CC0. And it complains over my image title because it's a terrible one made by my camera. So I'm gonna base it off like the name of the nature reserve. And this is in Sweden. This type of structure is a spawn, we call them. So that's what I'm gonna call it here as well. And I'm gonna add a basic description of kind of like bridge. Oops, tricky to do this in English and writing in Swedish.
It's difficult doing two languages at once.
Yeah. I know I'm switching already. I'm gonna be quiet for a while I do
All
this.
right.
Because
So Jane says she agrees with the EXIF. I think there's already a ticket on Fabricator about this. So if you want to get involved, you can probably search for it and join the discussion.
Okay, that's a basic description about the scene and the location of the image. That's gonna do the trick for now. I'm gonna actually see here. It has I can add a category here. So I'm actually gonna go to Wikidata item and you see, is there a category? Yes, there is.
Nice.
So I'm gonna copy that and just use that. I'm generally terrible at adding keywords. In this case, I'm gonna try to be of a good example. Let's see here. That's the I from the list. Let's see. They then this is new to me. Of the player video taken for the landscape category.
So it's specific for the campaign.
Indeed, this is something specific for. You can actually see it. We are in the upload wizard, but it's like specific for the Swedish Wikilabs Earth. But let's see here. This is just confusing to me.
I think if you select there, it gets clearer.
Okay, so you select, this is probably a landscape picture, okay?
Yes.
Right. Okay, and I'm gonna publish this. I think now, the thing we're uploading here, even if you miss something, you can add things later on. And the image is already uploaded, should go rather quick, but then I can click on the image here so I can explain to if this adds some extra value. Because if we remember from the Wikipedia article, it had plenty of pictures, but nothing that looks like this. And I think this would then even add to the Wikipedia article because it really changes your view if you've never been there of what you can expect. So I think that's a great addition, even if it isn't a great image in itself. So let's
interestingly, in the upload wizard, there's usually a step for adding structured data. And in this campaign, it had been disabled because you were taken straight past that.
It's often disabled in campaigns. I actually do it myself in many campaigns as well. Used to keep campaigns as short as possible because of like new editors.
Yeah.
And there is like an issue on Fabricator that it should automatically add things like license and such when you upload, but it's actually new real progress on it. Usually after like Wikilab Monuments and Wikilabs Earth, like in this case, a bot goes by and adds not only the license on things like usually, but they also add like the picts for the Wikidata item, but I thought we would just add this one as an edit example. And it's actually interesting here because the name of the nature reserve is different in all these languages. So I wonder why that is. There must be some source that is off.
Could have been that the Swedish was refined later.
Yeah, I actually think it's two that were merged. That's also why the Wikipedia article is slightly off when it comes to like the description and images. See if double checking that this is it. It is. And I think since we last used this regular interface to edit structured data on commons, the qualifiers looks a bit different, but we also got references. For this particular edit, there's no real reference to add. It is what it is. But I'm gonna open this anyway just to show it, because it's slightly different than on Wikidata. So we could, for example, do a reference URL here, and I'm gonna close this off later on. We could add URL here, and it actually a really neat interface in my opinion. I really like this one, and I hope they bring something similar to Wikidata. But I just wanted to show that they have made a lot of progress since we last showed this. And I'm gonna publish it like that. And there we go. Not sure I'm gonna mark it as prominent. Never really got that on commons. For this type of picture anyway. But yeah, there we go. And then normally if I do like a targeted upload like this, I would go and add it to Wikipedia, maybe improve a little bit. But because this week there is a competition on Swedish Wikipedia, so in case you write there, it is on, what's the English term now? Biodiversity. And I feel that that's an edit I'm gonna save for them. So that's my upload. Now let's get back to the basics and edit Wikidata here. So I think this is kind of the standard things that we got on Wikidata for Swedish Nature Reserve, but we do have a hashtag, which I'm very skeptical against, but that's another thing. Not sure how we got that one.
I think the question Jane asks here, is it a footbridge or a boardwalk? I think that also varies where in the world you are. I know when I was in Australia, I think they were called a boardwalk a lot. But it might be a little bit like the same as if you have a sidewalk or what the other thing is.
And I'm already like thinking of the Swedish term spång, and I have a hard time translating that.
And I thought it was a little bit wide to be a spång.
Yeah, it's maybe it's like one of those that is a little bit more accessible, but it's also not a bridge in my opinion, because it's very long.
Perhaps.
Right. And I directly see here on the nature search that we got an iNaturalist option here. And I think we can actually like say that the species is found in a particular nature reserve. And I usually don't add all of them, but there are a couple of ones that I consider very prominent to this nature reserve, like wild pansy. It's like completely covered with it around this time of the year. And common juniper, as we saw on one of the pictures on Wikipedia, it's also really prominent for the landscape as it is. So I want to add those two on this item. See if I can remember. So it found, could it be that? Or taxa? called taxon found at location. That's it. And then we got wild pansy. That's it. I know the Latin name. Oops. It should have at least one reference. Then let's give it a reference by, let's see, copying this link and do an edit. Add a reference. I'm using this, I think it's a gadget nowadays for making the interface more minimal. And then there is a small reference here, which I usually miss and click a qualifier here instead. So we saw that on iNaturalist. I don't even need to go there because we had that integration. And let's see, I want to add retrieved. And for me, it doesn't add automatically. So I'm going to say this manually. And it's 2022. There we go. And then I'm going to publish that. Then let's see, common Juniper. Let's see, which is which one? That's one, the one. And I don't have the copy. No, I do not have the copy reference. And there, I clicked the wrong one. I want the reference one. Reference URL. I should have it on my clipboard. Oh. Oops, that's not the date. That's the date. Gonna publish that as well. Okay. So another thing I feel that's very much missing is that if we remember from Wikipedia, I'm actually gonna head over there. We saw a couple of monuments. I might have it open. We see two pictures of monuments, and we can actually connect monuments to the nature reserve. So I want to see if we from Commons here got a link to the particular monument, so we can find it on Wikidata. It looks like we do have one, but I don't think that URL will work. And that's actually my fault, but still not my fault.
But there's a Wikidata link there.
Yeah, but it won't resolve.
Aha.
It goes to some type of lookup service, which won't work. So if I click here, it won't return anything. Let's see, what's the easiest way to find it? It is maybe to go to Wikishoot.me. Can I just Google that? Or yes. I think we showed Wikishoot.me in an early version of, or more than a year ago. And will you give me a map as well?
User denied the request for geolocation.
If I give you my location, that's not my location, but okay. It's not even remotely my location. Okay, but then I'm gonna zoom into the nature reserve tree to see if I can find. Oh, and Nicola says here, Wikishoot.me to rescue. Yeah, it's a really good service for finding this type of information. So here is this hill on which these monuments are. So I think that's one grave field. I think that's it. I'm gonna double check this as well. This is a stone setting, also a grave, but that's not in the correct location. That does not have a description, so I want to open that one as well. Okay, so this is both a grave and settlement area. So I'm not gonna do that one. I know for a fact that it's this one. And it does not have an image. So first of all, I want to connect that to the image and then to the nature reserve. So I'm gonna open this on Commons. This should of course have an image, and I should have seen that already in Wikishoot.me. But here we go. Will you find the file? Hello. Yeah. Okay, but now we should be able to say that this monument is located in this protected area. And there are things like location and things like that. But there is a more precise property as well. I think it's located in protected area. And
That's a new one to me.
right, it's not that common, but I think it's great for this because it means that, for example, I can make queries that allows me to both do Wikilab monuments and Wikilab at once, and that's a real use case for me. Who is the type of person who plans my holidays after Wikilab's Earth and Wikilab monuments? But there we go, and that's also a type of thing that I don't think require a reference, because you could just compare the coordinate with this coordinate with, I think this have a map file here, so you would just quickly realize that it's within the borders. There are ways to model that, which one would do maybe if you do this with a bot, but in this case, I don't think it's that important. So we got, and I think this is a great example as well. We said we wanted to improve this item, but we didn't make a change here. We rather added a link from a different item into it. And that's one of those things to realize, that not to improve one item, one also can edit other items. Did I lose my Wikishoot.me link?
I think
I
you did.
completely missed my... I did. Okay, I could continue that with a couple of nature reserves, but I just want to scan this to see if there are something completely different we could work on. I'm thinking... So we got this identifier for the nature reserve from like the Swedish government. And I wonder if we could find like the actual documents that are describing it.
Should be there.
They should usually be here, but sometimes there is a lot of documentation, and yeah, like in this case, we have here we can also see this name change in the various decisions. So all of these are decisions to like make changes to the nature reserves or the rules there, and we can see how the name changes along the way. Here are the various information which is imported into Wikidata. I think we should have like a start date, right?
It should be in the first one there.
Exactly. We have
so that's
one
the
date of the decision, but then we got like from this time it's protected. I think that's the most correct one. I'm gonna see if did we already have that? It feels like something that should have been imported, so to say.
Might be there.
We did not have it. Then
No,
I'm
it's
definitely gonna. Is it there? Inception, right?
Yes. What's the reference?
And it should point exactly to where we are.
All right.
Right. What could we more do? We got an image. We got iNaturalist. It was a pretty good one, so to say.
Very interesting. The reference doesn't work. It's a 404. So perhaps you can find a better link.
Oh, I imagine that's the case of like all of them. Yeah. That's interesting. Let's see how they compare. This seems to be from an old API rather than from like a UI. Oh, I can see the identifier here matches. So the number there,
Mm-hmm.
but the code is different. So if I remove this one as well, maybe this one is the better URL. I don't think that's might not be stable. And it doesn't change when I click like this. I think that one is the best we get.
Or perhaps was there links to the actual documents?
Yeah, there are links to the actual documents, but I'm betting that those are like, let's see what they look like. Yeah, they even point to like an external service, like the company which runs its service for them. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of feeling like I wouldn't trust them
No,
because when they change the contract with this company, they will most likely break.
yeah, and those are the references right now to that company.
Oh, indeed. Then I'm trusting them even less.
They already
Okay.
proven.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna try to get my initial URL back here by reopening. But this identifier link worked
Yes.
because it's probably the formatter URL that just was updated and actually worked, which is an interesting case for like the references part, wiki site, and expanding that for working with things. If we could just have being able to update all references here by just changing a formatter URL, that would be super cool. I'm gonna update this. Let's see, how do you update a reference? Do I just do a new reference?
No, you can just edit it like anything else.
But then it doesn't match.
No, but you just read it, so you change the retrieve date. The publication date is the same.
But we are not sure that that's the exact same thing. So this should be a new reference.
You could add a new.
Yeah, because I think this just points to like a JSON file, or did once upon a time,
Uh-huh.
rather than the UI, which we now
Yeah,
use.
yes, yes.
So I think the core thing would be to add a new reference. Can you mark them as deprecated?
Nope.
No, you can't.
I think there's not there is a qualifier for it.
There is a
I don't
qualifier for
remember
it.
it,
Okay.
but
No, but
it's
it could
not
be like that.
deprecated like with ranks.
Right. Because what I do this like an example right now, but I realized that like the imports for all nature reserves are broken. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll probably do bot job here.
Yes.
So the date for retrieved is very much today. It doesn't autocomplete for me still. That's not the year. It takes another 200 years before we're there, but that's the year. And publication date, do we have something good here? I mean, I got it for each document, but not really more. I'm gonna leave that out for now.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna still say stated in because I'm pretty sure this points to like the general database, which is the same. So that one I'm going to use. But that's it, I believe. So then I can publish it. And maybe let's. I think we got the time. Not really, but what could a qualifier be named like that? Um, no, I didn't. I couldn't guess that qualifier to have it a reference deprecated or preferred. So we're gonna skip there and leave it like that as a little bit of an improvement. I mean, this reference is still not wrong. It's just that the source is dead.
Yeah.
So I still think there is a value to keep those reference. But as Yane says here, broken references are a reoccurring headache, and
Yes.
I must very much agree with this. It's something that that should be solved on in some level on Wikidata. But I think with that, I have kind of got what I wanted to do today. So show an example of an upload and also reasoning about how even people like I who don't take great photographs or can like compete in the photograph competition can still like contribute and add something to things like Wikipedia articles or your the more or less the general knowledge of the reserves or protected areas, as well as a bit of Wikidata editing around it. So yeah, and
Yes. And also don't forget that there is for Wikidata a large number of different image properties. So
indeed,
we have the winter image, we have the night image, we have image of entrance, we have aerial image, and so forth. Aerial image, it might be hard to
yeah,
just do,
I
but
was really so we have a very well photographed nature reserve just here nearby, and
mhm.
one thing I was able to do this winter is because it's just next to a lake, but the lake was frozen, so I could walk out to the lake and take a pictures from like the lakeside in the winter.
Yeah,
And that's like added two new perspectives, one from the water when it's and one because it's winter. So you can just expand upon the various perspectives of these images.
let's see if this did not work, but I'm gonna share this screen quickly anyway, and zoom in a little bit because I'm planning a photo walk or a photo hunt, and then at least you can see it didn't change the when I changed to English on this wiki. It's
Right.
a chapter wiki, but you can see we have a night image, view, entrance image, the ordinary image, winter image, road sign image, aerial image, if there are any graves, uh, plaques, panoramas, interiors, and so forth. So
Indeed. And just related image, the last one.
yes, that one should often not be used, it
Yeah.
says. But there's a lot of things, and
Yeah.
some simple things like the road sign is easy to forget.
Indeed. I haven't like thought of the idea of taking picture of road signs.
Yeah,
Oh
so
no,
that's
that's a great topic also for an outer episode. I mean, with that many, we could easily fill one.
indeed.
Right, and we are back next week.
We will be back next week, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But it is the MediaWiki Hackathon, so we will try to. We haven't really exactly figured out what to do yet, but we will try to
Something hackathon.
see something in the cross section of Wikidata and the hackathon.
Indeed, and if you have any suggestions for what we could do, please let us know. We are very
Yes,
open to suggestions.
indeed. And
And
until
in
then,
general, participate in the Wikimedia Hackathon. It's not only about hacking; it's also about community meetups, documentation, and much more. So check that out.
mhm. And also, of course, having opinions on how things should be, because
Indeed,
that's any editor, old and new, can
yeah,
be valuable for that.
very much so.
And until then, happy editing.
Happy editing.